it's interesting, and this kind of just reminds me. I mean, I've always thought this. I never even voiced this to anyone. Remember when we were recording the Collateral Damage record that I didn't play
Uh-huh.
on? it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was okay. And I remember so after our first recording session, because Loman did one song, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm done. Let's come
Hmm.
back, and I'll really be able to give it to you." And I remember that we were talking with E after, and he was like, "Oh yeah, man, this is great. I'm really, really excited about this." And I loved Collateral Damage, best stuff that I was ever able to play. But I remember
Uh-huh.
thinking in my head, after thinking of all the things that E had touched, and then we're talking he did the March record. I remember thinking, "Are you really excited about this?"
Yeah,
I mean,
I know. Yeah, yeah. It's hard because back in the day, you recorded where you could afford, and you had to hope that the guy that you got cared just enough about your album to make it sound good. And
well, I
so who
remember
knows?
your term, pushing buttons. You used to say about certain guys,
Yeah,
you'd be like, "Ah, dude, he's just pushing buttons back
yeah. I mean,
there."
there and that's. I mean, I have the same thing in my job too, graphic design. Like if there's something that I feel real passionate about, it's fun to work on, and I'll kind of give it that little extra zhuzh. But if it's something that I'm not really down with, I'll phone that shit in and send it back out.
with
So
the songwriting in this band, and I think you may have touched on it. Just because I know you, my thought in my head is, oh, Jeff kind of presented these songs to these guys, but then I'm thinking, nah, would you guys work on stuff at practice? Would you all bring stuff how did that piece of it kind of work out as far as the overall songwriting on that Turn record?
like I said, it was mostly Mike and I are it's kind of it came from our like Mike and I would sort of deliberate on the songs before even bringing it to the other two guys. But once we kind of felt that we had the song in a form that we liked, then it was definitely open. Oh, it was anyone's input. When we got it to the fore, when we were all playing together as a band, we certainly were open to other people's interpretation and whatnot. I do. I remember a lot of stuff. Dennis had a pretty big role in how the songs really ended up sounding, because they were just like acoustic songs that Mike and I would play in our apartment. When we would first write them, not really even thinking of them past that. So when they turned into sort of like rock songs, we were certainly open to like where it was going to go. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to sort of just see what would happen when we got in a room and we were actually playing as like a rock band.
Was this wait? Actually, I'm just gonna go right to this question because I'm afraid I'm gonna forget to ask it. And I know you probably don't like questions like this, but I have to ask.
That's fine.
I use this song, and I love that I'm talking to you as if I don't know you, but um,
Uh,
um, I love the song Decaf Sumatra. Like I used it in Walking
yeah,
Between
yeah,
the
yeah,
Raindrop. I still listen to it. I remember you guys were playing at Coos and Popeye and I
yeah.
literally dancing together in the back while that's on. It's a
Yep.
great song. What the fuck is that song about? I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm sorry to
yeah,
do
no,
that to
no,
you.
no. No, that's a mystery to me as well. That one is certainly like the lyrics are from Mike. That's Mike's thing. It's like a X-Files-y science fiction based story in the lyrics, and I think, if I remember correctly, I think that he gave the lyrics to me
Oh, see, I
after
never
I
knew
had.
that. You didn't write that.
I didn't write the lyrics. No, I did not.
Okay, wow.
There may have been a few, like I said, like sometimes I'll finesse things, or I'll add a line, or I'll move a verse around or something like that to Mike's songs. But that one it started with Mike lyrically. I think the music the music was my thing, and he had these lyrics, and I thought that it worked because it was this sort of space rock kind of sounding musical thing, and these lyrics that I still not sure. I mean, I have my story, what I think it's about, but I don't think Mike ever really explained it to me. So yeah, that one, that's probably the one that is the least clear to me on what it really truly is about. So I'm sorry I can't answer that for you.
No, but you beautifully kind of segued into a question that I had about that record lyrically, and I don't know if the word I'm going to use is the correct word, but there's almost sort of an avant-garde feel to the lyrics on throughout the whole record. Not every song,
okay.
And certainly now that you've put them all together in Bandcamp, like it's there's a lot to like take in. But
yeah,
I just wondered like just because like having read like the Game Face lyrics and then reading these, like it would like, was that ever a thought in your mind? Or
well, that's just comes down to the difference of Mike and I, of our writing style. Like I'm like sort of like diary journal entry guy. Everything kind of works like a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I try to like wrap things pretty tightly. And where Mike is a little bit more ambiguous with like with his lyrics. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes he would just give me a piece of paper with 4 lines of whatever, and then I will move those around and fill in the gaps, and that sort of becomes the song. I'll take a meaning that I think that he's trying to get at, and then basically play Mad Libs or fill in the rest and put in. So yeah, that's that. I mean, and that's what I think is cool about having a writing partner, because you can make something that either one of you wouldn't have come by, on your own. So I think a lot of the lyrics, I would say most of the songs, there's at least a percentage of Mike in the songs that I started, and then vice versa for him. Like I don't think there's any one that is 100% one person, but he has a very different writing style, and that's what came through on the finished product for this.
Well, that's what that even makes that record kind of more interesting now, just because like knowing like the two styles, just because sometimes you get two styles, if they don't go together, it cannot be good.
Yeah.
And I always remember someone talking to me just about Texas Is the Reason, and why that worked so well is Garrett was coming from it from here, and Norm was coming from it from here, and it just worked. And it seems like
I think that's a good example. I think that is definitely a good example of two very different writing styles, but it works.
And it's interesting because sometimes if, let's say, you and Mike had been more on the same page, on like not that you weren't on the same page, but you know what I mean. Like had you guys been more similar,
right?
That record may not be. We may not be talking about it right now. Maybe
right? It would have been like a I don't know,
like an Ice record.
Light, or that. Yeah, God forbid.
I always regret that we never recorded the final song that you wrote. I always regret that we never did.
There's still time.
There is. Did you guys have a goal with that record? Like in terms of like before you kind of realized, okay, this thing is creating too many issues between me and my other band. Was there like thoughts or plans or ideas?
Not really. No, I mean, like I was just really happy to have another outlet, and it was I think it all happened too quickly to like come up with a long game, like for it. It was just like I have an opportunity to make another record with other people, and it'll sound very different from the band that I'm in. Let's do it. Like that's really as far as it got. It was just another opportunity for an outlet that I was not gonna pass up. That's as far as the thinking was. I know that. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else in the band, you know, and I'm sure that they wanted it to go on longer, and you know, they would have loved to have done more, but you know, that's kind of just, that's all we got. It's just, it was one and done.
You and I kind of talked about this, like, I don't know, years ago, and it was a brief conversation, like just a few sentences. But what's interesting to me about that March record is usually that's the record that we see people doing now, like people like contemporaries, but you had done that. Like,
Yeah.
do you ever think about that? I mean, like, you probably
Yeah.
don't ever say, "Man, I was ahead of my time," but it really seems like you were ahead of your time.
Yeah. Every punk rocker does end up making their acoustic album, or they, you know, like every, you know, you sort of unplug and you make your whatever. I think I probably went. I don't know. I mean, there's no real right way or wrong way to do it. But yeah, yes, you are right. You're seeing time and time again the old punk rock guy doing the Roots album, or whatever they're doing, and I think it's awesome, because I love that kind of stuff anyway. I did before I was, you know, old. But yeah, and I think that because it happened, like, you know, early, you know, it happened in the sort of when we were still doing the pop punk thing, and whatever we were doing, it was sort of lost on a lot of people. You know, they probably didn't think it was cool, or they didn't bother to check it out. Maybe now,
I don't think
now
that.
they want to listen to it.
See, that's the thing, is from like someone like on the outside looking in, it seemed like everyone liked that record. It just, you know, the way that the scene was then, things kind of moved fast, and I don't think that people really like. I think that had you guys been around more and playing, and had that CD really gotten a chance to kind of marinate with an active band playing, it could have been, you know, it just, you know, it could have been thought of different, I guess, or maybe you would look at it different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. No sense in going over that now. But yeah. I guess it was a little ahead of the, you know, for this scene, at least for our scene.